Okay, 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting of the town of Farmington Planning Board to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have 3 of the board members here. We have 1 of the board members in New York City. Tim, can you tell us where you're at there in New York City?
Yeah, I'm in Queens, New York, 5556 Rumson Place.
Okay, thank you. Okay, emergency exits over here, and the door you came in, there's a couple emergency exits. We do have a generator if needed. I doubt we will tonight. We're not doing sign-in sheets yet, correct? Probably next meeting. We'll get started with sign-in sheets again. Please mute your phones, cell phones, pagers, watches, all the good stuff, so that you don't interfere. We're going to be following the Ron.
Because we're not using sign-in, we're going to speak, we need name and address.
Right, before you speak or when you speak, please give us name and address so we can, the clerk can record that. We'll be following the meeting tonight by the rules of order or rules of procedure adopted by this board, January 20th, 2021, and the Town of Farmington Board Resolution 326 of 2020 regarding remote attendance of members. Okay, next item up is approval of previous board minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review them? Any recommended changes? Got a motion to approve the minutes of the last board meeting? So moved. Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Right. Legal notices, no legal notices. Oh, you just didn't put the date of when they were published on here. Okay, so there was a legal notice for the public hearing on the 2-lot subdivision. So first item up on the agenda is the PB 0602-21 preliminary 2-lot subdivision. It is a public hearing. Who do I have here to speak for that?
My name is Gardner Soul, 415 Klein Road.
Okay, Gardner. And the last name is pronounced Soul?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what you got going on. The process will be, you'll tell us about the project, then I turn it over to staff, they'll talk about it, and then we'll get public input and the board will talk. So give us a little quick overview of what the project's all about.
Project is to take a pond that's on the east side of our property and include the pond with the property of 417 Klein Road.
Okay.
There's a small cottage, about 1,000 square feet, looking out over the pond. And what we'd like to do is include the pond and the cottage together on the same property. Right now, that little cottage sits on a minimum size lot that's, I guess, called a landlocked lot, with a driveway easement from where we live in the big house, but it's called the big house, 415 Klein Road. And to do that, though, has been a little more complicated though than I would have guessed, to try to meet the code and everything. So there's no construction anticipated, initially at least, although according to the planning board's list of things they gave me, that there would have to be a turnaround area constructed for the small house.
Those are a list of recommended conditions for approval of the subdivision.
Yeah. So essentially that's it. But to do that, there needs to be some changes in the lot line, which is all explained in this. I don't know if you wanted to get into that.
No, we'll let staff discuss things, and we'll get public input, and the board will, we'll go through the Senate on some items and then go from there. Ron?
Yeah, we did meet with the attorney representing.
I'm sorry. Maybe I better move down to this.
Hard to hear?
Let me see if I can pull this off. So we did meet with the attorney for Mr. Soul, Mr. Bender,
Yes.
okay? And went over some of the issues of concern. We drafted a resolution for your consideration tonight. And after the resolution had been sent out, we received the town engineer's concerns. And the town engineer basically is asking to identify, it looks like there might be just one septic system on both sites.
Two septic systems.
There is
one
two.
on each side.
Okay, so one of them isn't shown on the drawing.
Okay,
It's got to be shown.
That's
on the
true, yes.
The other one, issue is water service. Does each dwelling have its own separate meter?
Yes.
That needs to be shown on the drawing as well, because it's not there right now. There are a number of other issues that are involved. I can't explain how I guess it was an in-law house, your mother-in-law or something like that.
It was built, yes, for my wife's mother.
Yeah, and it was built without any access to a public road. So in looking at the drawing that had been submitted, they were showing a strip of land along the south side of the property to get back to the house without any design details as to how the driveway would be built, constructed, or anything of that nature. And because of the topography on the site, it made sense to us, and we met with Mr. Bender on this. I think he agreed that it made sense to move that driveway to the north side and combine it, which is what we're talking about, modifying and changing the drawing for. As far as any potential for a garage for that second house, it's very unrealistic to think that that will ever happen because of topography and the proximity of putting a garage on the hill. There's like 8-10 foot drop there between where your garage is and their house.
Yes. Idea was to have it on a 2-story thing, and you would drive in and there would be like a basement. That was it. This had not really been planned out in detail. This was for nothing that we would be doing right away. In fact, my son's sitting back there in the corner, and he's exhibited an interest in someday owning the property. And when that happens, he was wondering if he could build a garage. And I said, well, we'll see. So I said I didn't know.
It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It really is.
But there's no garage planned in the immediate future.
Right. The other thing is that we normally, when we have a dwelling setback that far from the road, we want a pull-off area for fire purposes.
right.
And because of the drive and the turnaround and things that they have for the main house there, we feel that that's adequate. And I believe we've talked with John Weidenberger about that, and he also agrees with us that that would be adequate so that they wouldn't have to construct any additional turnoff area.
Good.
For fire purposes. You get back 500 feet or thereabouts from the road, you got to set off a separate humper. As soon as you set up a separate humper, you're blocking any access by another truck to fight the fire. And that's why we have that provision in the code, is they have that pull-off.
But basically the current
Design.
where your garage and stuff is enough of a spacing to allow the trucks.
Right.
So
So
you're okay now.
the distance from the garage and the driveway, which is apparently okay as far as the fire department is concerned, to the cottage is about 90 feet.
From your garage?
Yeah.
Okay, so from your garage to the road?
I'm saying if a fire truck came back to put out a fire in a small house, it's about 90 feet.
Right, from your house to the in-law apartment. But the setback from the road where the fire hydrant is, to that location is 400 and some feet. Okay, so when you get to that 500-foot interval, that's the maximum amount of hose that they can run and make it work. Okay, all right. I'm gonna let Colin talk about the septic
Okay,
issues there as we go. But I drafted a resolution to approve with a number of conditions. Probably would want to add MRB's letter
okay.
as an additional comment.
Dan?
All right, this actually came in originally as just a lot line adjustment.
Right.
Obviously, this is more involved after reviewing it with staff, getting more comments on it. This is why it's now in front of the planning board. It's definitely more involved than just a lot line. So we're looking at subdivision. Ron really covered a lot of the details that we've looked at. We've been out to the site. We provided you guys some pictures of the conditions out there as well. The resolution is drafted in a way with a bunch of conditions that I think resolve a lot of the issues. And again, as Ron said, the MRB letter addresses the outstanding items that were not covered in the conditions.
Okay. So we would add a condition that the issues raised in the MRB letter be addressed as well. So that'll be an additional condition. Highway. Engineering.
Yeah, so our letter was dated June 14th. One of the comments was just to show the existing water services along with the location of the existing septic fields and other associated structures with that. And the other comments we had really just pertain to ensuring that there was legal access for the in-law house.
Right.
That's
Okay.
about it.
Okay. Okay, so that's staff. So what we'll do now is this is a public hearing. Do I have anyone in the room to speak for or against this application? Do I have anyone in the room to speak for or against this application?
Besides me?
No, you're okay. You're okay. Okay, next one up on the line. Do we have anyone online who would like to speak for or against this application? Again, online, anyone to speak for or against this application? Okay,
And
Yes.
just to put it into the minutes, nobody's also connecting to us by chat. So
okay, so for the minutes, no one is chatting or connected audio only. So, okay, so next item up would be a motion to close the public hearing, and then the staff can, or the board can motion to close the public hearing. Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Let's take a roll call vote.
Stephen Bellis. Aye. Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Henninger.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is closed. Okay. Let's just discuss it. Tim, well, Tim's drinking, so Adrian, go ahead.
No, I don't,
Have anything with it?
not right now with MRB's letter and everything else. What they're trying to do.
Perfect. Doug?
similarly,
Okay. Tim, how you doing with this one?
I'm okay with this. The proposed resolution is pretty thorough.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have pretty much the same. I mean, the staff did a great job and worked with your attorney to get the condition. So the next item up is my question to you, the applicant, is, are you comfortable with and agree to the conditions in the in the draft resolution?
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Okay, you can question away. Staff will address them. Yeah.
One of the things that's called for is a 10-foot of pavement from the road into the driveway.
Yeah, standard.
I'm-
We can let highway address that one if you'd like. Want to use the mic, it's hard to
Why
get.
why this is a requirement? Yeah. We've had a stone driveway for 50 years.
Reason why we went to these, the 10 foot of pavement. And as you drive around town, if you take notice where people are going in and out of their driveways, quite often the road is being broken out to the white line. We're ending up with travel lanes being infringed with broken up pavement, right where the cars enter and exit.
Yeah.
Therefore, we put in the code that the first 10 feet into the driveway has to be pavement to save the road edge, if you will.
So any application that comes in front of us, that's a standard condition.
Everyone.
Huh.
Yeah, it's something we started doing a number of years ago. And every application that comes in does require that, so this is nothing unusual.
We can still have a stone drive.
You
Okay.
still have the rest of it stone, you just got that first 10-foot pave.
Yeah, okay, I was trying to think of homes that I'd seen like that in the town, and I.
Only ones that have had to come in for additional applications. So if somebody came in for an additional application, they got that requirement. If they didn't come in, then they were kind of grandfathered until they do come in, but if they ever do anything like subdividing or have a change on their property, we require it.
I believe that's also.
Okay,
Town
so-
road. Town road.
It's town roads, I'm sorry, that's town road.
It's not state, it's not county, it's only town.
One of my
Okay.
questions.
Okay,
It also mentions there's to be a sign at the road meeting appendix G-9.0 of the town code. We do have a very nice sign out in front that lists 415 and 417. I don't know if it would meet the code, but I
I'll tell
got a picture of it.
you. Or Dan,
So the standard is it's a reflective green, it's a public safety sign, that these are standardized throughout the town for our fire department, and that's what they're looking for, so reflective. It's a green with white numbers that are required, and it's standard, that appendix shows exactly the spec of how it's supposed to be done.
How high are those numbers? Is it up vertically?
I believe they're,
The whole sign is approximately 12 inches tall.
Really? Wow.
and you guys, there are local vendors that take care of that, so that staff can help you get to a local vendor that will help make that sign, and that's another one where all new or all applications that come through, that's another standard requirement we put on there, so.
Yeah, because your structures are set back so far from the road.
Yeah.
And are in effect not visible most of the year. Emergency vehicles, whether it's a fire truck or an ambulance or a police vehicle, that helps them identify that they've got the right location. And they're not driving by and wasting time responding.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Then once you're in the driveway, we do have a sign pointing to 417 and a sign pointing to 450.
They'll be in the
Right.
same driveway.
So
Yeah.
it's the same driveway.
Yeah.
Now, my other question was on this turnaround area for vehicle parking for 417. I had just thought that would be for like a car, but
Right.
is that
Yeah.
like a pickup truck or something like that?
Right.
Does this have to be designed, have to be approved by a civil engineer or anything like that, or just a reasonable turnaround area? where
We just do
somebody can
not
go in
want
and do a
somebody
T-turn?
backing all the way up the line road. You got a lot of room there to put a hammerhead kind of driveway turnaround.
I think I think that covers all the questions that I had.
Okay, we're going to add another condition. The condition is that the recommendations in the MRB letter, that's our engineer's letter that came out, what was the date again?
June 14th.
June 14th. And it basically said that you had to show the septic tanks or septic lines on there as well as the water. And there's maybe a couple of things. That's going to be part of it as well. And the staff, you probably already gave them a copy of the letter. You should have a copy, or at least your attorney should have a copy of the. If not, the staff can get you a copy of that MRB letter.
All right.
Yeah. So that's the only other thing. So you're okay with the conditions?
As far as I understand them.
Okay.
I am, yes.
Perfect, okay. So with that said, does the board have any other discussions? Okay, I'll take a motion to waive the reading of the resolution since the applicant has agreed to the conditions. Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry, I should have known better. First item up is State Environmental Quality Review Resolution. It's a type 2 action. Do I have a motion to waive the reading of the type 2 and approve the resolution as presented? Moved by Doug, seconded by Adrian. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote on the seeker.
Beaver. Aye. Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Henderson.
Aye. Okay, that's the State Environmental Quality Review Resolution that we'll take care of. The next one up is the resolution with conditions for approval of the preliminary 2-lot subdivision. Motion to approve and waive the reading of the resolution. Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Beaver. Aye. Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Henderson.
Aye, with the conditions, with the change to adding the MRB lettering. Okay, you're approved for preliminary. You've got some work to do to get to the final, and then once you do that, bring it back in. Well, you got to get through the preliminary, and then we can sign it, and then we can come in for final, and then you'll be done. Simple as that. Work with staff, always work with Dan and the folks in the building department, and you'll get it taken care of, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, next item up is special use permit, PB 0603-21. Special use permit, public hearing on the auto wash. Who's here for that one?
It's online and the engineer.
Yep, online, and we have an engineer here. Okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, Alex Amory with Hostage Engineering,
Alex?
217 Lake Ave, Rochester, New York. As mentioned, Robert Martinis, the owner of the Auto Wash franchise, is also with us. The application tonight is for a special use permit for a car wash, obviously in the general business district. We were before this board approximately a month ago for preliminary approval. The plans submitted for tonight's application should very closely reflect the last drawings you saw. I'll quickly just point out one of the more substantial items was the addition of a sidewalk, not only from the west property line to Mertensia, but also from 96, the north property line. We understand, obviously, the special use permit revolves more around the business operation. It will, for the most part, function, very similar to the former country club car wash. They'll have on average 2 to 4 employees. The hours of operation I put in the letter, they are 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and shorter on Sunday, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. At preliminary, I went through a number of the site improvements, architectural improvements, streetscape improvements, the relocation of the driveway to align with the Myers RV project. I can get into more detail on any of those. I'm not sure if anyone wasn't at that hearing, but
I think that's fine because we're really doing special use permit. We'll get into the final when we get to the next step. Okay?
we've obviously received MRB comments. We'll be addressing all of those as we go to final, and, you know, we don't have any issue.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, Ron.
Does Mr. Martinez have anything to say?
Oh, Robert, you got anything to say on this one before we go to staff?
Muted.
You're muted, buddy.
Oh.
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, I think Alex did a pretty good job.
Okay, thanks. We'll turn it over to staff and we'll go from there.
Okay, let me know if you have difficulty hearing me, Robert, or anybody else online. We did a resolution to approve the special use permit, making findings required in the town code. The county planning board reviewed this. They identified it as class 1, which is basically a local matter. Hats off to everybody for that. That normally was something that doesn't happen very often. And we believe we're ready to go forward with the resolution to approve the conditions that are contained in the draft resolution, which were sent to everybody. Since the resolution went out, we did receive a comment from one of the planning board members about the width of the driveway on the west side of the building. That's a special use, not necessarily a special use permit consideration, more of a site plan,
Right.
but it's something that Chauncey felt very strong pointing out at this point in time for you to be aware of it. And I sent that on to Matt, Greg, and to you as well.
Yep, and thank you for giving that to us ahead of time. The question was about the width, which I think is about 10 feet now. There was also a question, we'll be adding a light pole base, which will, you know, somewhat restrict the movement between the base and the building. As it appears on the plan, it would, you know, could be called a bypass lane, but in reality, any vehicles which, you know, may not be in great condition to go through the wash would likely actually be routed through a center area we show coned off. Area around the building, they have a couple reclaim tanks that are used for recycling water. So the lane around the back of the building is more for the owner's maintenance and access. As it pertains to, you know, emergency vehicles, you know, we'd be happy to talk about it. Realistically, they need to get to that side. You know, they have access to 3 sides already. It's pretty close to 96.
Yep.
It's,
Yeah, I remember that from
yeah,
way back in the initial. Yeah, got the motorcycle shop next door, that's got some space, 96 and Mertensia, so. But I think, yeah.
Yeah, we're I think ready to go.
Okay, Dan.
MRB did have comments. I believe Colin is going to comment about that a little bit more.
Okay,
But from a fire code point of view, you are compliant with 3 access to the building. And again, looking at site plan for their neighboring project with Maddie's Power Sports,
right.
you have more than enough access to get fire equipment. So, but back to the special use permit, the resolution tonight clearly states in here about the use of a car wash, which is already existing there. This is just cleaning up the paperwork side of things and getting everything documented, the hours of operation. It was a very clear application. Everything seemed to be presented correctly. As the applicant said, we see the sidewalk now going down Mertensia Road,
Right.
which was great to see it added on. I don't see any issues moving this forward.
Okay, thank you. Highway. Engineering.
All right, so as Dan mentioned, we did take a look at that area that Chauncey had pointed out, the fairly narrow access area. What we would like to see a little more of, or at least understand, is what maintenance requirements are there back in that area. If there's any vehicles large vehicles that would need to go back there for maintenance concerns, then they have a way to then exit that area.
Mhm.
Whether it be backing up or if they can somehow make it around that tight area. Either way, we just want to make sure that any maintenance or delivery vehicles can safely route through the site. As far as the special use permit is concerned, we have no comments with that. Our May 14th letter is still outstanding at this point, and we understand that the engineers are working on it.
Oh, okay. This is a public hearing. Do I have anyone here to speak for or against this application? Anyone in the room to speak for or against this application? Hearing none, now about online. Anyone online chatting or otherwise that would like to speak for or against this application? Okay, with that, we'll
Checking your chat, hold on.
check our chat, just make sure somebody's not sending something in.
Nothing in chat.
Nothing in chat, okay. So next item would be is to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Doug, second by Adrian. Any other comments? Okay, so, board, start with Tim. Tim, you got any questions on the special use permit for the auto wash?
No, I have no questions on this one.
Let's take a quick vote on the closing of the public hearing. I kind of got past myself. Go ahead, clerk, take a roll call.
Beaver, aye. Bates.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Ham.
Aye. Somebody's gonna keep me in line, I'll tell you. So, okay, so next one up will be Doug. Any comments on the special use permit? Adrian?
Yeah, back to that parking thing,
Yeah.
because it's on the one paperwork that they need 15 reserved spaces.
Stacking for the car wash.
This is stacking,
Yeah, I believe it's a stacking. They showed that on the one
not
drawing.
to exceed 40 spaces, that wasn't actual land bank or something?
Yeah, I can't imagine they need that many parking spots.
Well, I know, one map showed land bank parking.
That was the originally approved,
Like 100 years ago.
country club. I think they sold vehicles or something at the time.
Oh,
Because it calls out display, that's not a proposed site plan, it's
Okay.
just demonstrating the approved use,
Okay.
even though the permit didn't exist.
all right,
Sorry.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, that plan that you're looking at goes back to October 1st of '87. Is the date on that. So,
It was
All
more
right.
for precedence, I guess.
Okay.
I would say, and then-
Cool.
So then, all right, so the other, the stuff in special use is stacking and different stuff is worse. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with it.
Okay, pretty straightforward. We appreciate you putting this stuff together, so I'm good with it as well. So, next item up, do we have a motion to, are you okay with the conditions of special use permits? Yes, seeker also? Okay, but let's do that. Let's at least know about the conditions.
Don't believe we received a copy of the conditions. And I
it
could be
was
wrong.
part of the resolution that was forwarded.
I've received the agenda from Sarah, but I don't believe. And I received Ron's comment, but I,
It came from John, what we call it. The email that you should have received.
Okay,
if you could read them.
okay, we will. Let's go back and let's do the seeker. Do I have a motion to waive the reading of seeker and approve the type 2 as presented? Moved by Adrian, second by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Adrian Velez. Aye. Doug Bates.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
Ed Ham.
Aye. Okay, seeker's taken care of. One of these days I'll remember that. Okay, seeker is taken care of. So, we have the resolution for the special use permit. Would the clerk please read the conditions of approval, please?
Very well might have been an oversight on my part.
That's fine. We can read the conditions. Not a problem.
Now therefore be it resolved that the board does hereby make the following findings. Want the findings?
No, it's a commission.
Just the condition.
There's 8 of them.
Okay, number 1, sidewalks are to be installed to town standards along the Mertensia Road frontage of the site.
prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance for the auto wash, car wash facility and related vacuuming service. Number 2, there is to be an additional street light installed near the driveway entrance exit along Hortensia Road that will illuminate this driveway's location during dark hours. 3, all site landscaping along the State Route 96 frontage shall be installed along with the 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk prior to the issuance of the certificate of compliance for the auto wash, car wash facility and vacuuming service. 4, within 3 years of the issuance of the certificate of compliance, the applicant is to install an additional 6, and then there's parentheses 3,
It should be 6.
6, an additional 6 deciduous trees within the island portion of the site. 5, public safety signage is to be installed next to the driveway entrance exit within 3 months of the issuance of the certificate of compliance. 6, all site lighting is to be compliant with the lighting regulations contained in Chapter 165 of the Farmington Town Code. 7, the site shall be kept clean to the greatest extent practical, including all trash receptacles associated with the vacuum stations. And number 8, no vehicles shall be left overnight on the premises.
Okay, Robert, now, is you okay with those conditions?
The one question I had, when it says additional, like, that's the total of 3 street lights, it's not a 4th, right?
Right.
We went from 2 to 3.
No,
so
this is
It's the same as
your
preliminary.
lighting, illumination pattern
Mhm.
on your site with the relocated driveway as a dark area where the driveway entrance is. And we want you to shift it so that that's illuminated,
Okay,
so that in dark hours, people know this is where I go in and out.
Okay,
Anything else?
when you said the 6 trees in the island area, that would be the center where the turnaround,
The
the
loop,
queuing.
the loop, yes. And I had talked with Matt Bragg about staging, a 3-year period for additional landscaping, and he seemed to think that would be acceptable.
Well, Bobby and actually some of the members of his family who are active with the car wash, they do all the landscaping themselves, so
cool.
I would encourage you to see their other facilities. When I think it came up in discussion with Bobby that, even though there's quite a bit of landscape, I think in the years coming, you'll see quite a bit more as they kind of grow into the space. So
Cool.
those are the couple questions I had.
Okay, Robert, do you have anything for us?
As far as the overnight vehicle, not that we ever plan to leave vehicles there overnight, but if for whatever reason we have to leave a maintenance vehicle there once in a while overnight, is that going to be an issue or?
As long as it's marked as part of auto wash, if it's a pickup truck for snow plowing or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so applicant has agreed to the conditions of approval. Do I have a motion to approve this application with conditions? So moved. Moved by Doug, seconded by Adrian. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Adrian Bellis, Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia,
Aye.
Ed Evans.
Aye. Okay, got your special use permit approval. So next is what's next on the agenda? The final?
Well, that would be coming.
That'll be the next one that we get to see. Okay, cool. All right,
July meeting.
excellent.
Great.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks.
No problem, thank you. Look forward to everything going. Okay, next item up, we're gonna talk about the Myers RV construction schedule. Go ahead, give us a little update here, how we're doing.
Jeff Lorenz, 3162 Brockport Spencerport Road. Site work, we have one more DI left to set for stormwater. But we can't set that until we have our flow meter and for the dump station set, which we're gonna be receiving the flow meter and installing the week of the 24th this month.
Okay,
Once that's done, then we can set our last DI after the sanitary is all set. And so we are gonna jump ahead next week and we're gonna start forming the concrete sidewalk along Hortensia. So we'll be contacting Dan for inspections for the forms. Streetscape, I spoke with PC&G who's doing the work. And they're gonna be meeting with DOT and Syracuse Signal Systems on site next week. And coordinate the remaining devices at the intersection. The work should be completed at that time. There will be additional work for the boards, the signal or the control boards. So that is, I don't have an anticipated completion date for the panels. So I will have an update next week, and then once I have that, I'll update you guys. I'll send an email out.
okay,
There will be a new floor plan coming out. I had mentioned that to Dan last week. Once we have that, I'll be submitting that for approval.
okay,
And that's where we're at right now, guys.
we good, okay. Ron?
Yeah, well, we were tasked with the responsibility of preparing a draft resolution for you tonight on the amended schedule for this project. And as you heard, we just received it. So what I would suggest that we do is ask Mr. Burns to prepare that amended schedule, submit it. We'll discuss it at the PRC meeting on July 2nd and have a draft resolution for you to consider at the July 7th meeting of the planning board instead of tonight.
Okay,
And I see no reason why we're not moving in the right direction. I think things are looking very nice over there. I see you have some stone brought in for the driveway entrance off Hortensia already, which is great. I've talked with Greg Trost, and he's not aware of any outstanding issues that should create a hiccup for you. So, as they say, carry on.
And once we get done with the signals, be in contact with Greg Trost and let you guys know when we're gonna do the front block.
Okay, I'll turn it over to
okay, Dan?
All right, the applicant and I have communicated very well together here, getting us in the right direction. You will see some of these dates that have now been pushed into July. But we're still looking for at least phase 1 to be wrapped up by the end of July, doing the punch list items for that. So that's all good information. They have good safety controls out there for their existing customers or new customers. So I do appreciate that. So on all those avenues, I think we're in the right direction. You'll notice on the schedule this time, there's things that are highlighted and check marked off. I requested this for the board's quick access to be able to see what has been completed. So obviously everything that's highlighted is complete. The things that aren't highlighted are not complete. As Jeff mentioned, there has been a change to the floor layout. Obviously that doesn't come to you guys, it's a building department review. And we are in the process of reviewing his foundation for the building. And looking to get that approved here soon, I think. And then we'll look to do the building permit for the entire building and get that underway. Realistically, things are good. The applicant does come to all of our PRCs and gives the town thorough updates. And I think Ron is correct on this one, that we should allow us to go to PRC, review the schedule as closely as we can at that meeting, and then be able to draft a resolution for your July 7th meeting.
Cool, okay. Don?
Just a basic comment that the production on this project still appears to be moving in a good direction on a daily basis.
Good, okay, thank you. MRB?
No comments.
No comments, okay. So I think that's a good a good solution to get the updated schedule and prepared and submitted to the staff at the PRC so we can have a July 7th resolution. Start with Adrian. Adrian, comment?
Yes, I have a bunch.
Okay.
Can I get a couple, I just want a couple clarifications real quick by looking at the schedule that we were given in our packet. Number 2, and I don't know if you have it with you, but is the excessive material removal from the site? I know it's coming down to the end of the month or whatever. I mean, that's gotta be getting pretty close to being wrapped up, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
and then like with 4 and 5, I mean, obviously their dates have come and gone, but you're waiting, I mean, for that DOT stuff. You were
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm gonna, once I get the dates, when it's gonna be completed, I'm gonna update the schedule.
But that's because you're waiting for DOT to come, like you said, next week or whatever, to figure that out.
Syracuse, yep, signal.
Okay. The installation of the parking lot subbase, is that all done or no?
Not yet, no, sir.
And that's just behind because of the whole thing or something?
We're RG&E, where we're placing the transformer. We just had their engineer come out to the site, and we had the transformer originally going behind the building. And we relocated that, and that we submitted as well last week to the town and got approval for it. So it was waiting to get approval, so now it'll be adjusted with the schedule as well.
And then the dump station and separator stuff's all behind because of all that problems.
Well, the flow meter wasn't correct, and so the flow meter for the dump station will be in the 24th of this month, the week of the 24th, and will be installed during that.
Okay, those are, I just had a couple I marked that I was just wanted a little more clarification, but I'm very pleased with the way it's going so far. I know it won't be at the next meeting, but I don't have a big hold up as of right now, that they're still doing the best they can.
Right.
This time with what we've been, where we've gotten.
Cool. Well, you'll see the information in the email. If you get a chance, you make comments back. So, okay, Doug?
I'm good.
Tim?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good, and I appreciate the communication. That's the most important thing. If we go back to our history on this, the communications is the key. As long as you keep that up, we're happy. We're not unreasonable people, normally anyway. So as long as we've got good communication, staff's happy with progress, you keep us up to date, we're good to go. So we'll expect you to go to PRC with an updated schedule. They can talk about it, and we expect staff to provide us a resolution for the July 7th meeting. Okay?
So you had mentioned that somebody said July 2nd, so is that a meeting as well?
No, that's
The second.
PRC is the second, I'm sorry.
So that's the first Friday of the month.
You might know enough of those. First Friday of the month.
Well, I know that Avon Town Board meetings as well, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but ours are better.
Yes. I agree.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next item up is the decommissioning plan for the Delaware River Solar Project. Ron, where are we at?
Well, a draft has been revised by the special legal counsel for the town. It was submitted to you last week. Your responsibility under this is to acknowledge receipt and ask any questions about it. And if it's in good enough form for you to forward on to the town board for action, that would be a resolution that we could act on tonight.
Okay.
If you want anything else, then I'm here to try to answer.
Okay. Dan, anything?
Just summing up what Ron said, special legal has gone over this, town engineering, building department, development. I mean, we've all sat through multiple meetings reviewing this, and I do think it's in a good spot to go to you guys for your comments.
Thank you. Don?
I'm good.
MRB?
No comments.
Okay, since Dan's in the room, we might as well ask Dan, how are we doing on this? We okay with where we're at?
Right now, we in the letters have no objection on the board taking action for this town board tonight.
Okay, so basically that's where we're at. We got a copy and the proposed decommissioning plan. The one item that is missing is the dollar value of the, I'm gonna call it surety, I'm not sure that's exactly what its term is, but the dollar value is missing because because it can't be computed until they know, till MRB knows exactly what is in the decommissioning plan. So if it changes, then that number would change, so it doesn't make any sense to do that. So that's the only piece missing. I'll go through the board and see what the board feels. I have read it over, it helped me go to sleep a couple nights. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but given the fact that we've been doing this for over 2 years now, I'm glad we're finally at 2 years. I know.
3.
3?
Actually 4, but 3 years on decommissioning.
Well, for us, it's been a little over 2, I guess, maybe 3. I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. So I'm okay with it personally, but let's start. Adrian, how are you doing? Adrian, fine, Doug?
Yeah.
Tim, how we doing, bud? You okay with this decommissioning plan as it stands, ready to do a resolution to send it to the town board?
I am, yes.
Okay, so, we don't have an official resolution.
We don't have one, because I had one.
Okay, so then I will state the resolution that, and John can put all of the good words around it, but this is a resolution that the planning board does send this, draft decommissioning plan onto the town board, with no additional changes to it, at this point, so that should be good. So there's a resolution on the table. Do I have a motion? So moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Adrian Velez. Aye. Doug Beats.
Aye.
Tim DeLucia.
Aye.
And Henry.
Aye. Okay, so the draft decommissioning plan is off our desk and onto the town board. So congratulations, one more step completed, and we'll go from there. Thanks for stopping by, appreciate it. Okay, next item up, we have 3 letters of credit, Auburn Meadows 7F, 7N, 8N. Do I have a motion to block these 3 and approve them, the letter of credit releases as provided? Moved by Adrian, seconded by Doug. Any other comments? Clerk, take a roll call vote, please.
Adrian Velez. Aye. Doug Beats.
Aye.
Thanks, buddy.
Tim DeLucia.
Thanks.
Aye.
And Henry.
Aye. Okay, next item up, open discussion, Ron.
Okay, comprehensive plan. We were originally scheduled to have public hearing last night. That was canceled because the engineers working on the Route 96 and 332 corridor study had sent messages that they were going to have their public information meeting that night. And since they canceled that, there wasn't time to advertise. So we're gonna have to schedule it for July. The Redfern townhomes over there between Dalton Drive and Running apparently are being sold. There's a developer that's going to buy the 20 lots that were approved and never built. So that's moving along. We've been working with MRB in doing a sidewalk trail and bike lane master plan map, which shows all of the areas where sidewalks exist today, where they're proposed as part of approved projects, and where there's a void, as well as how they connect to the trails and the bike lanes that we have in town. We're doing this with the understanding that this fall, there'll be another round of TAP grant funding. So it'll give us the opportunity to perhaps be more successful having the sidewalk information in the comprehensive plan, having the sidewalk master plan, and having progressed with a lot of changes that have occurred since the last submission. If you recall, last time there wasn't anything, I think, 6
More
months.
sidewalks put in.
Yeah, so that's moving along. After the meeting is over with, if you want, we have a new street map from MRV. The street map has been updated to include the trail connections and the conservation trail over there at Hickory Rise. And then we have a new zoning map with the adoption of local law number 6 of 2021 back in the end of March. We created a new overlay district, the MSOD, the Main Street Overlay District. And looking at the existing zoning map, Ann and Lance and I and Michelle, the town clerk, decided we were going to do something different. Instead of having a map that was 75–80% all green, because it was A80, and having a small area in the southwest corner that was getting very clustered with being able to identify where the boundaries of everything were through the, I guess you'd call it, ingenuity of GIS. MRV has come back with a map that has allowed us to show the overall zoning on a smaller scale, blow up the developing community center area, the southwest quadrant, and provide detail as to where the MSOD and the MTOD boundaries are based on a parcel configuration. And then at the bottom of that map, there's a set of tables so that over the years, and we calculated today that it would take us out 50 years, so Adrian's going to be the only one available to make sure that that this is correct.
You're pretty close. Be good luck.
So this zoning map will be introduced to the town board and acted on next Tuesday night to have Michelle sign it, seal it, and deliver.
Perfect. Okay.
Signed, delivered.
There you go. Thanks. Anything else, Ron?
No, that's basically it. We do have another project that we're having a little difficulty getting a lot of information on, and as soon as we do, we'll be forwarding it on to you. And
Good luck on that.
we hopefully we'll have some news shortly on other projects in town.
Cool, thank you. Dan, yeah?
That Redfern one there, the contractors gonna buy in, or whatever you said, they would build the townhouses.
Right.
Do we approve plans for those townhouses already?
Yes.
So he's gonna build to the spec right now, or?
Yeah. They, if you recall correctly, there were several of those townhomes that had in the driveway, and they had to relocate them
Right, yep. But I mean, he's gonna build to the
to those specs.
design specs or whatever.
That's the only thing he's gonna get building permits for.
Unless you want us to go back? Okay, Dan.
Well, as Ron covered a lot of the stuff that we've been working on with the different maps and also a bunch of different projects. We are having a couple issues, a few projects that are causing staff some headaches, but we don't want to move anything in front of you guys until we have all those worked out. So, and I know that you've been involved in some of the emails, and we always appreciate your support at all these meetings.
And if I need to come into a meeting, let me know. I may or may not be able to get to the PRC meeting. My son's coming in, so we'll see, but I should be able to come in.
But I just want to say that we do appreciate the support from the board, letting the staff do what we need to do to get these projects on the right track, so that when they come in front of you, they're prepared and complete. Because the last thing we want is you guys to have deemed something complete.
And I've told Dan and Ron and I'll let the board know that I have told them to use us as an excuse or a leverage because we don't want to see projects that are unveiled. I mean, we want to see projects in their official form that are complete. We don't want half-baked ideas coming before us. If they do, bring it to us as a sketch plan or whatever, but.
Conceptual.
Yeah, conceptual. I told them to use us as an excuse, and if they need me, I'll be there to say the same thing, so.
So, on another note, I mean, to show you how busy we are, I reported to the town board at their last meeting that we have issued over 100 permits for new houses in this community.
So far this year.
This year. Last year, we did 139 for the whole year. So, I see that things are developing very quickly. A lot of people moving to Farmington, which is great. Ron and I were out over at Hathaway's Corners today, looking at one of their townhouses as they're getting ready to have people start moving in by the end of the month.
So the roads are dedicated over there?
Roads are dedicated, and some of those are private roads. So all they needed to do was get the binder done.
So. I forgot
They
that's
have
private on some in town.
3 buildings that I think by the middle of next month we'll have residents living in. So things are moving very quickly. So then the last thing I just want to comment about is I know that we've shared stuff on the shared file now. Just wanted to check with you guys to see how that's going. Is that working? Is that?
I like it. So far, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I guess I don't know lately, but I do like.
I don't know enough about it, but I mean, so far it seems okay.
Well, we're gonna keep pushing on it.
Doug's probably more professional. Uses
Doug Shaughnessy again.
they use that stuff every day, but I mean, to me, it looks okay. I mean, is there other stuff that needs to be changed?
I'll let you know.
But
I didn't really do that much exploring and getting out of town there. So
I will,
thanks.
I will tell you, your guys' stuff's on there. The recordings are also on there. I know our clerk of the board has access to it as well. So.
Yeah, a few more months here. I'd say by the end of summer, we're definitely have a good feel. I mean,
Well, any input that you can give us, I mean, we are still doing your packets, we're still doing all that too. But obviously, we update the share file almost immediately.
And I think we're gonna get a point, and once we collectively begin to use it, we might get to the point where we don't need all the hard copies. We'll have to state, maybe some of us do, some of us don't. So we'll review that. It's too early to say that, but when we do get to that point, we'll let you know.
Here's the other thing, is if you're reviewing something online, you want one page instead of getting the whole thing. I mean, that's easy for us to print to a page.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, hopefully that's what I would like to be. Is there a way on that shared, and I know it's new, so. Is there a way to put like, can we put the emails on there or no? You can't do that?
We can put the
Well,
letters.
Yeah, I mean, I could print an email and save it,
It's different.
but I can't just send an email to that shared file.
I understand. Just sometimes going back to find the emails that are sent out like
I understand.
next week, if next meeting's 3 weeks away almost. And, you're getting 100, I don't know, 100, but you get a bunch a day. It's,
Use that search feature.
You can use
I don't know. That's all right.
We'll sit down one day and we'll bring
Somebody
in,
teach me how to use it.
we'll bring in Doug's laptop and we'll show it. A little training session, how to search for email.
So, like I said, just communicate with us. If there's something you see that we can do better, let us know.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I will let you know that the July 3rd fireworks was postponed, but it's now back on. We have our vendors.
What?
We have a band.
There's nothing out there.
Happened today.
Yeah, it will be.
Hot off the presses.
Yeah. It's actually been a couple days old.
Last week was August.
We were trying to make sure that we can reserve everybody, and that has been confirmed today. So we've reached out to the sheriff's department, we've reached out to the fire department, making sure that we can get all the safety there.
And you got the fireworks, correct?
Yeah, the fireworks were always there,
Oh.
because we had that date and we were trying to get a different date, but, since it wasn't confirmed for the new date, and with the governor releasing everything, town board has opted to go back to the July 3rd. So the fireworks are on, and all of our vendors, I think we have, I don't know, 4 or 5 food trucks coming, we have a band coming. It should be quite the event.
Oh,
It would be a great place for Girl Scout cookies to do something.
I keep hearing this, but I don't have them, so I don't understand where they're all stacked up.
Down the way, so with that, I'll turn it over to Don.
Don, what do you got, bud?
Highway department's normal busy time of the year with our maintenance project, reclaim over here on College Road was done earlier this week. Our oil and stone projects are all coming up here in the very near future. Town Line Road, the south side now, we'll be putting the base between Birchwood and Maplewood tomorrow. And then we will continue to move east in an easterly direction until we reach 332 on that road. As far as the parks, I don't know if anybody's noticed, there are several 4x4s standing upright throughout, 21 of them to be exact, throughout the park here. They start over by the small parking lot. Greta from the Victor Library and her crew will be coming in on tomorrow, and they will be starting to put a base section on there, and that will become a storybook walk, where the kids can go from station to station, reading the stories throughout the park. And there'll be a little barrel that gives them direction to the next page of the story. This is something where the Victor Library changes the story out every few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or something of that nature. They've got them in other communities around. Victor's got them, different parks have them throughout town. They seem to be enjoyed by the kids, so
Cool.
we give it a shot and see how we make out there. The only other thing would be Beaver Creek Park. We continue to have little trials and tribulations over there with the conduit that's been broken apart because of trucks driving on it, trying to get cables pulled for the cameras, a water leak at one of the hydrants, trying to search for it, improperly poured concrete around some of the fencing and basketball hoops and stuff, so it
We just
continues,
asked for a couple million general projects.
continues to be a challenge over there, but we will get through it.
Okay, anything else, Don?
That's it.
MRB,
Nothing to report.
nothing to report. Public, we have public.
Yes, I do have one question.
Okay,
It's Bill Allen, 5988 County Road 41.
hey, Bill.
And it's probably more for Dan, really. It's, my wife's concerned. In front of Lions Tank, where the sidewalk curves around and front goes in front of the halfway house, they put a little sidewalk extension that comes down to the, I don't know what you call that, V stuff that diverts the water to the storm sewer grates, but it comes down there and it's one heck of a climb up. She doesn't think it's within the code. She can't even get her bike up it. You know, they didn't bring it, and we've looked at a lot of them around where they brought them right down almost to the road surface, you know. And I know a wheelchair couldn't get up there. If somebody, not that anybody's going to be coming down the shoulder of that road in a wheelchair.
I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna have to get out there and.
Yeah, it's right as you turn the corner onto Halfway.
It's where the sidewalk meets the gutter.
Yeah.
There are other areas around town that they are allowed to build them, so I would suspect that they do meet the code. Quite often you will find that the gutter itself does not have quite a deep V in it where the ADA really comes into it. But there are areas.
And we noticed that we walk our dog up through the Farmington on the creek, and there's a few of them up there that got the V, but it's not as big and high as it is at that one little sidewalk extension.
They need to maintain some sort of a swale in the gutter,
Yeah.
obviously, to make the water go, but generally they will try to lessen the V that the water can still flow, but.
That's what I figured, they cut it out normally, wouldn't they, and then just put a smaller one in.
Whether they would cut it out completely, it's generally done during the pour, guys. Do a little bit of, a machine pours all that gutter.
Yeah.
And then the guys will generally come back and do a little hand polishing.
Well, she wasn't sure it was in compliance with the regular.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, they- and then it's just if anybody around here's got a horse or cows or anything they're feeding, one of those, I have a figure the guys from the racetrack, they dropped a bale of hay off right across from our house. It's on the shoulder, the south shoulder 49, and it's nice green hay and it's still in one piece. Somebody just lost it.
That's probably still not there, if I'm not mistaken, they were landscaping were over there doing some break.
Oh, yeah, I know, they but they didn't, they put the green stuff on over there where they were.
Oh, they actually.
And this is the green hay, they wouldn't normally use the old
And
nasty
straw, yeah.
This is regular green, it looks like this year's crop of hay, it's nice and
Oh,
green.
the truck probably.
Oh,
No, no.
other than that,
Bill?
my wife was wondering why the Lions hadn't started their park yet there, they're gonna do it in summer, and it's been an awful lot of summer,
There's no plans for a park,
no plan?
no plan.
Yeah, I figure, I know what there's a plan for, but, yeah. Okay.
Okay, Bill, thanks. Adrian? Doug? Tim, what do we got? Other than your new grandfather, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate being able to Zoom in the meeting. Sorry, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm told I'm better looking when I do.
Well, we're all been freed, so I think we're good to go. We don't need to wear masks anymore, as long as we're vaccinated. So, okay, with that, anybody else have any comments? Okay, motion to adjourn from Doug, seconded by Adrian, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.